Well, hello and welcome to Money Talks. I'm your host, Ed Marshall. The old adage, go west, young man, go west, is the call that a number of businesses have apparently taken to heart in one of our metro areas. I'll tell you which one and how it's going economically when we come back.
Nightly Business Report. A new team, new editorial resources around the globe.
Chaos here continues.
The same objective, insightful analysis of the top business news of the day.
For the Nightly Business Report, I'm John Ford.
Every weeknight, a half-hour wrap-up of complete market coverage.
With the business and economic stories that are crucial to you.
Television's longest-running business program.
Nightly Business Report.
Weeknights at 5:30 p.m. on WLAE.
We are back. Did you figure out which community we're talking about? Well, it's Algiers, the only part of the city of New Orleans located across the Mississippi River. I recently sat down with the executive director of the Algiers Economic Development Foundation, Derek Martin, who shared with us the uptick of business in Algiers. Take a listen.
So just as the name suggests, Algiers Economic Development Foundation, our focus is economic development. Our focus is long-term growth, the vitality of the community. And in essence, we've been around for 24 years. As of October, it'll be 24 years that we've been around. And over the last couple of years, we've pretty much retooled ourselves to say, okay, let's make sure that we focus on just what our name suggests and start moving towards some development. Our primary objective is really to focus on the businesses that are already in Algiers. You know, in the world of economic development, it can be argued, but I specifically believe that business retention and expansion is probably the key to business development. I'd rather keep them and help them grow than try to go find somebody to backfill a building. I've been in New Orleans for 3 years now. What I found out about the businesses in New Orleans, the small mom and pops, they've been around for 3 and 4 generations. They have not been able to grow because they just haven't had the true expertise of what it takes to grow. And of course, to access to capital. And that's where it's at. So we're working with them saying, listen, right now you have some of the best food, some of the best services here in Orleans Parish, but we need to let the entire region know about it. But in order to serve them, you've got to be able to expand and welcome that growth. So, you know, let's take an example. Just recently, very familiar with the Kern residents, the Kern family. So Mardi Gras World, after they moved their facility over to the East Bank near the Convention Center, that was nearly 70,000 square foot of just open space that was being unused. So Blaine Kern Jr. came to me and said, hey, listen, we have this space. I'd really like to be able to maximize it. What can we do to bring jobs to this community? Well, of course, at the time, filming was the big thing. You know, Louisiana being #1 in the country. We thought, let's look at that. So that we did. And it took about 6 or 7 months, but he expanded to about 88,000 square feet. He insulated it, put chillers in there, and welcomed the first set that he had was CBS The Zoo, which is actually now on air. So from a permitting standpoint, getting the community involved, identifying the jobs, and more than anything, when you start talking about payroll, that's taxes that's coming back to the city coffers. So that's just an idea of what we do. Algiers, I like to look at it as probably the best kept secret. You know, being new to the community, you hear so much about Algiers is this, Algiers is that. But the fact now, the numbers, you can argue with people, but typically you can't argue with the numbers. And so for the last 3 years, we've been having consistent growth in the new development of renovation and new construction. Last year, we had roughly 250,000 square feet of new construction. This year, it's upward towards 350,000. About $120 million in capital investment. These are private sector dollars. So when you look at those private sector dollars, what it tells me is that people are starting to understand that there's something in Algiers that's going on. And so right now we have a pipeline of projects totaling about $250 million. And if AEDF, Algiers Economic Development Foundation, along with the community get our way, we'll see some tremendous developments in the next 18 to 24 months.
And again, that was Mr. Derek Martin with the Algiers Economic Development Foundation. In other news, prominent pastor Charles J. Southall III has been elected president of the United Baptist Association, Incorporated, and was recently installed at the historic First Emmanuel Baptist Church in Mid-City. The United Baptist Association was formed in 2001 by pastors of collective ethnicities from throughout the metropolitan area. with the purpose of increasing the work of missions and educational endeavors to improve the emotional, physical, and spiritual well-being for members of the congregation as well as residents at large. New Orleans Mayor Mitch Landrieu was present for the investiture ceremony, and this is what he had to say to that congregation.
It occurs to me that, as Scripture tells us, that I can do all things through him who strengthens me. And as we're here tonight with my great and dear friend, a man who I love, Charles Southall, and to the past board and to the past president, Pastor Gordon, and to the future president. As the occasion was read, it just came upon my mind that what we are being asked to do at this moment in time, on this day, through this man who is going to wake the sleeping giant, is to make the sacrifice that is necessary so that those that come after us can have a better life than we have. You can try to make it mean all kinds of different stuff, but it means that you get less, you wait longer, you pay more, so that your kids can do better. That's what it means. You can build a new school building. You can take a school system where 75, 80% of our schools were failing, and now only 5% of our schools are failing. You can build brand new buildings. You can work it so that the graduation rate's up and the dropout rate is down. But if you don't do the work of making your kid go to that school and do well, living through the pain and the agony, staying up late at night when you're tired, when you've been in 3 jobs and your feet are tired, and your daddy comes down and says, I still need to eat, you still got to do the thing that you got to do so our kids can send. Because you know what? They don't have anybody else. God gave them to us to raise.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Well, October usually means that it's cooler weather out there, but with those changes also comes some safety precautions. Here's our Common Sense reporter, Shannon Ryan.
Autumn is a wonderful and exciting time of year, but it's also the start of flu season. One of the most important safety issues of the season is personal health. The CDC, or Centers for Disease Control, recommends that everyone 6 months and older should get a yearly flu vaccine. The CDC says it takes about 2 weeks after vaccination for your body to develop full protection against the flu. So get vaccinated early to protect yourself and your entire family. This is also the time of year when we start spending more time indoors using heaters, furnaces, or fireplaces to keep warm. Get your heating and cooling company to inspect and service your furnace to make sure it's in working order and that there are no leaks. If you use a space heater, be sure it's properly vented to the outside if required, and be sure combustibles are kept well away from the heater. It's recommended that you allow at least 3 feet of empty area around space heaters. As far as fireplaces are concerned, be sure to use a proper screen to keep sparks from flying out of the fireplace. Never leave a fire unattended, and make sure a fire is completely out before going to bed. Candles give a room a beautiful glow, but they can also cause fires if used improperly. Never leave candles unattended, and be sure they are extinguished before going out or going to sleep. Also, keep them away from pets and children. Make sure your smoke alarms and carbon monoxide detectors have fresh batteries. And check the expiration dates on any home fire extinguishers and replace them if necessary. With safety awareness and a few common sense precautions, we can all enjoy the crisp fall weather while avoiding some of the dangers that come with the season. I'm Shannon Ryan. Back to you, Ed.
Thank you, Shannon. We'll be right back with some news from Crime Stoppers. Stay with us.
I'm Phyllis Landrieu, co-founder and CEO of the Childhood and Family Learning Foundation. When students' health gets in the way of learning, they fall behind in school and in life. To date, we've screened 22,000 New Orleans school children to make sure that they're healthy and ready to learn. Many couldn't see the board. Others couldn't hear the teacher or suffered painful tooth decay. We find children with health barriers, and working with the parents in the school, connect them with the care they need. Then they're able to go on to success in school. The child and the school reap the benefits, and so do we as citizens, Now we need your help. Please visit childrenarewaiting.org today to invest in our work, our kids, and our city's future. To help today, text KIDS to 91999. Thank you.
Well, welcome back. One of the areas we always like to talk about, of course, is Crime Stoppers, and it's given a special segment on this show because we want to make sure that everybody is safe, whether you're a resident or people coming into our area. Joining us now is the Executive Director, Ms. Darlene Costanza. Darlene, thanks for being back with us.
Thank you.
October, of course, is a very busy month and has a lot of good programs that are coming up for our audience to know about. So, jump in.
It is the Crime Safety Month. So first off, you have October 13th is our Night Out Against Crime, which is different. Nationally, it's in August. Here in New Orleans, because of the heat, it's October 13th in the surrounding parishes. And what Crime Stoppers does is we provide materials to all of the different neighborhood groups that are having parties, but we also participate in the kickoff in New Orleans, which is at St. Roch. But at the Bonneville Boat Launch, we do one in Jefferson Parish. And that night, it's open to the public, free and open to the public, but the importance of coming out to any event or having your own is getting to know who belongs in the neighborhood, having your network of information coming forth, but then getting to know law enforcement. So you'll see lots of exhibits and things.
And that's so important.
Very
important. It's kind of like, well, the video that Crime Stopper has out now where people say thank you to the police, because you get a chance to know who the officers are in your neighborhood and who you can call on.
And you get to know about what things are, trends that may be happening, but you also find out the facts. A lot of times we hear rumors and we get all concerned, but you get to know face to face who should I ask that question to? If I have a problem, who should I be calling? So it's a great opportunity to stand together against crime.
Exactly. And then, of course, later on this month, what is it, October 24th, you're having what's called the Youth Peace Congress.
Yes, very important
for
us.
And it used to be we call the what do we call it?
Teen Summit.
Teen Summit. And it's
evolved. It's evolved. What we did this year, and we're hoping this is the first annual of many, we have 200 high school students who have been selected by their schools to participate in a 2-hour workshop with a very distinguished panel of federal judges, the U.S. Attorney, law enforcement agencies, and of course First NBC Bank, and many people who they can address their concerns. But there'll be case studies that the kids will work on about safety, about violence in our communities, and then we're actually going to talk about snitching. I mean, that's what Crime Stoppers does. We have the message about giving us information, and how do we combat the myths about that, about what you do and how you can be proactive. So it's going to be a 2-hour event. The students are actually going to be receiving a stipend and many other wonderful things for participating. But it's October 24th, and we hope it'll be a very fruitful dialogue. That information will then be brought to our new governor, with select students from the group and our city leaders.
That is great.
Yes.
And then later next year, you have the other piece of that where you have the music and the dynamics of that.
The fun things. We will have a drumline competition. So yeah, the kids are really looking forward to that. I know they're already practicing with their drum lines, but everybody can come out. Again, with all of these events, that's free and open to the public.
And of course, let's let them know where they can contact, and that when you call into for tips or whatever, it's totally anonymous. You don't have to worry about any of that. We have never had a problem.
We've never had a problem. I've been there 20 years. Again, we've been together, Ed, for a long time. No one's ever been harmed by calling Crime Stoppers because it is anonymous. That number is 822-1111. Simple 822-1111.
Appreciate you. Appreciate the Crime Stoppers board members. Tell everybody hello, and we appreciate everything that goes on there. Thanks a lot. When we come back, we'll have more Money Talk, so stay with us. Thanks for being with us again. Each month we get letters and emails from people who have a certain question they want to ask to our community leader, Ashton Ryan. Of course, it's called our Ask Ashton segment. The question this month comes from Connie Keeney in Harvey. Here's her question.
Hi, I'm Connie Keeney, and I work downtown in the CBD area. I'd like to know if there's any need for concern about our banking system being taken over by just a few large banks.
The change in the number of banks in the United States has followed trends all over the world where the number of banks are consolidated. Most of the banks have gone out of existence by selling to bigger banks as part of consolidation. And that's not a bad thing because it allows the community bank to build strength, be able to serve the needs of the larger customers in the market, and be in a pretty good position to compete with the big national mega banks. But at the same time, we don't want to get to the point where we have, like Europe, many countries in Europe have only 4, 5, 6, 7 banks throughout their whole country. We've got 7,000 about now, and I think that's a good number. I think we will see some consolidation, but we're also creating new banks with good economic times. And that's, I think, really positive, because that gives a new viewpoint to the marketplace, and customers have a new choice. So I think the number is okay where it is, and it will probably shrink a little. That still won't be a crisis. I would hope we would never get to where a small number of banks would dominate our whole financial system.
Well, Connie, there you have it. And of course, you can always write to us on our social media on Facebook and Twitter. When we come back, you're going to meet a new resident of the metropolitan area who basically oversees hundreds and hundreds of people in a special organization known as the Boy Scouts. Stay right here.
Thanks to your generosity, Marines have delivered Christmas to children in need since 1947.
Well, welcome back to Money Talks. You know, we always want to highlight the Boy Scouts, particularly the Southeast Louisiana Council, because they do such a good job. But I want to introduce you today to the new Executive Director, CEO, and that's Mr. Ernesto Caballo. And he's in. The former Executive Director passed several months back. And so we want to welcome Ernesto to
Thank you so much
the area. And of course, I know you bring a wealth of information to to the Boy Scouts here. What has it been like transitioning to New Orleans?
Oh, what can I say? New Orleans is the place to be. It's an incredible market.
Good. You came in from Texas.
South Texas, right on the Texas-Mexico border. Mm-hmm. And it was a very interesting, diverse community that gave me a good introduction to what New Orleans is like. So.
And they, you know, you tell me you've been in other areas too as well, Miami and different places.
Miami, Atlanta. I worked for the national organization for a couple of years, and I got to see different markets, about 94 different markets in the South.
But you chose New Orleans.
Oh,
I like that.
It was one of the cities that was on my checklist. Absolutely, we chose the executive board interviewed me and said, you know, you're the guy.
Well, good. So. Well, good. Well, we certainly welcome you, and we wanted our audience to meet you because, you know, tell us why the Boy Scouts are so important even now in our area.
Well, the Boy Scouts has been around for 105 years, and everybody thinks that they know what the Boy Scouts does. Yes, we do outdoor experiences for children and fun and games, but it's a little more serious than that. Our mission statement is to instill core values in young people so they can make incredible ethical choices throughout their lives. And with that mission statement, we impact children and their families and change communities.
You know, Southeast Louisiana Council, it encompasses quite a large area.
It's a very large area. It has the river parishes, the metro New Orleans area has Slidell, and all the way down to Houma and Grand Isle.
That is great. Now, how do boys get involved in Boy Scouts?
Usually it's through their local charter organization, which would be either a church, a faith-based organization of some kind, or even a civic organization. So, Rotary clubs sponsor Boy Scout troops and Cub Scout packs as well. So there are different local community organizations that sponsor scouting in their community.
That is fantastic. What are some of the things that you feel that Boy Scouts will truly teach people so in their later years or once they become adults?
Leadership is the foremost thing. If you look at all the astronauts that landed on the moon, they were all Eagle Scouts, the highest rank of scouting. So if you look at the military, the Congress, even presidents have been scouts. There's a reason behind that. People shine when they understand leadership roles, and that's what we teach in scouting. A lot of people think it's just about camping. It's about leadership. Exactly. And that's what the important part of it is.
So you get a chance to see where these people end up in other parts of their lives.
Absolutely.
That is super. Well, I know in next month, November, you all going to have your usual where you all select someone to give homage to that's done so much for the Boy Scouts. Tell us about that and who that person is and where it's going to be.
It's William Hines is our honoree, and
better known as Bill Hines.
Yes, everybody knows. Bill has been involved in the community for many years, and he exemplifies the Scout Oath and the Scout Law. And that's the type of individual that we honor every year at our annual Distinguished Citizens Dinner. We're going to have it at the Freedom Pavilion in World War II Museum, which is an incredible venue.
Oh yeah.
And it is our largest fundraiser of the year. It raises $350,000, and that's a lot of impact in every part of our community. Everything's put back into our local communities.
Yeah, and it's November 17th, right?
It's the 16th, 17th.
17th, November 17th, okay. And for people who want to be a part of it, how do they get in touch with you
All
guys?
they have to do is get in touch with us through our telephone or our website, and they can sponsor or buy tickets through there. It's a very simple process, and we always have a great time.
And and what I like about it, you get a chance to actually see some of the people who are in the scouting, and you actually talk to, it's not just an island, it's not just us older people, but actually the young people are there and talk about stories, how it changed their lives. It's amazing.
We all always bring example of our best and brightest. And we show off our scouts in Class A uniform, showing them all the badges they've earned, all the merit badges. And it's a great venue, a great experience, and it's a good way for an organization to be very philanthropic and join us in supporting scouting.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. You said you've been watching the show before, so when I bumped into you about a month ago, I said, well, look, if you're watching the show, we definitely want to have you on the show.
It's a great venue for me to reach out in the community, as well as it was one of the first shows that I watched on TV to get to know what's going on.
We appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Ernesto, thank you. Come back and see us, and all the luck, and we know it'll be a wonderful time next month for Bill Hines, and we congratulate him as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Stay with us. We'll have more Money Talks when we come back, so don't go anywhere.
You're watching WLAE, New Orleans Public Television. Find us on Cox, Channel 714 or 1014, Charter, Channel 11 and 711, AT&T Channel 32 and 1032, Dish TV, DirecTV, and over-the-air broadcast on Channel 32.
Well, that's going to do it for Money Talks. Before we leave you, we want to send our condolences to the family of Mr. Calvin Moret. He was the last living Tuskegee Airman in Louisiana. He passed last month. He was a fine man and a fine community citizen, and we're sure he had a very good and safe flight home. Until next month, I'm Ed Marshall. Take care, and we'll see you.